Hi there. Are you a local mom business owner? If so, we've got some exciting news to share with you all. The doors to our Working Moms of San Antonio business owners community are now open. Join us now in our supportive new community for local networking events, customizable social media templates, classes and workshops, business resources, and to be a part of our exclusive referral directory. We love to help our working mom business owners grow, so visit workingmomsofsanantonio.com/membership or just click the link in the show notes to join us. See you in the community.
We're Erica Reyes and Marie Lifschultz, a San Antonio area realtor and lender, but most importantly, we're working moms.
The goal of this podcast is to provide support and a sense of community to San Antonio area working moms like us. So join us in trying to find a balance between career, family, and everything in between. Welcome to this week's episode of the Working Moms of San Antonio podcast. We're here with Kim, and she has a company called My Cookie Therapist. And we're going to turn it over to her to talk about her story.
Hi, guys. I'm really glad to be here and to share my story. And I kind of wanted to share my story in the month of April because my business kind of ties in with Autism Awareness and Acceptance Month. And as odd as it may sound, autism is what led me to create this business in the first place. So, yeah, kind of goes hand in hand, the things we do for our kids.
Absolutely.
I don't know how much, experience, people have with autism, but I have one child, and this child happens to have autism. And he was diagnosed early here, right after I moved to San Antonio from Florida. And he was about 2, almost 3. Physically, he was just off the charts, but developmentally and his language just wasn't there. It wasn't happening. So I knew something was wrong. We got to get something. So we put a name on it, and the name happened to be autism. And I was, a stay-at-home mom at the time. And of course, I just threw my life into just, okay, what do we need to do? We need to get occupational therapy. We need to get physical therapy. We need to get speech therapy. We need to get ABA. At the time was proven to be the most effective therapy for a child with autism if they get it early enough in life. And we had everything going on, sun up to sundown. I'm, driving around the city, taking him to appointments. People are coming over to the house, meeting each other, coming and going at the doors, whatnot. And we were just living in this, kind of got to be this fight or flight syndrome 24 hours a day. The adults in the house, just that tension and that there was just, no rest. Even when you thought you were resting, you really weren't. And then we just stumbled across yet another protocol or a therapy that was called RDI, Relationship Development Intervention. And this one was just to stop. You need to slow down, and you need to just, rethink. And we're not going to, just so much be hammering at him to talk, and do this and do that. We're just going to let things progress naturally. We're going to let things progress without forcing verbal communication. We're really going to work on that nonverbal communication. We're going to work on eye contact. We're going to work on you as a parent being the giver of good things, which, all parents are anyway. I just wasn't allowing my child to see that side of me because I was so busy with, the language development and whatnot. And, and just relationships were unraveling at the time, and, health issues were popping up, and it's all from stress. Autoimmune issues can be a real, bee whenever you're all wrapped up in just chronic stress. And that's where I found myself at the time. So we started doing these nonverbal activities, and things really calmed down, and the family unit was just a lot more relaxed. And a big part of that was nonverbal communication and making eye contact with the child who's still not verbal at the time. He was just a little over 4. And just, a little tornado, just an ADHD whiz all over the place. But baking, one of the directors of the program said, baking has really been well, look at each other, you hand them an egg, you just, it's almost down to the silliest time. I remember my husband and I were looking at our stuff going, yeah, right, whatever. Okay, we're going to crack an egg and we're going to turn on the mixer and he's going to be, all right. But it wasn't quite like that. It was just the relationship building that took place during that time with me not talking. There were pictures on the back of the Betty Crocker recipe box. You just point to it. What do we do? Eggs. Oh, how many eggs are there? There's three. Oh, well, look, I have three eggs right here. You crack the egg. And, it's letting him do the things that I
Yeah.
would never let him do before. Crack an
Yeah.
egg. Oh, good Lord, no. Get next to a liquid in the kitchen. That's off limits. No.
Right.
Turn on my mixer. Oh, never. Those were all allowed. And of course, there was a lot of setting up before the activity. But with that, he was able to just look at my face, which, he'd never really done before, just to really look at me and to really see me. And through these activities and just waiting for the next step and waiting for me to go ahead and shake my head, yes, or waiting for me to smile, and then he would reciprocate the smile. It just went on like that. And we just, built it onto other things. Like, I'll never forget one time I was at a birthday party and there were, just, I don't know, maybe 40 kids all in the backyard across the pool at the jumpy house. And, I remember being really nervous at birthday parties and stuff. I remember always having my eye on him. And then I remember he looked at me from across the yard, which was really kind of far away, and he made eye contact with me. And it was such a huge deal. I just wanted to share it. I mean, he just wanted to make sure that I was watching him and looking at him and see what I'm going to do, which was, typical kids do that all the time. And I just wanted so desperately to find someone who would understand that and could
Yeah.
enjoy
And like
that moment
celebrate
with
with
me.
you.
Yes, just it feels like, oh, he had never made eye contact with me before, especially, across a swimming pool and a bouncy house and everything. So things kept progressing. And well, now he's a 21-year-old adult. He just graduated from college with his associate's degree and taking a gap year to figure out what he wants to do for the rest of his life, like a gap year. And I told my parents I was taking a gap year. I have no idea what they would have said, but
I know what mine
anyhow,
would have said.
yeah.
No, ma'am.
That's where we're at now. Yeah, I think it would have sounded like that in my house, except in Spanish or something. Are you crazy? What's the matter with you?
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. I tried to keep it cool. So here we go. But that started, and that led me to, baking for school. And at first I was doing just a lot of cakes, like cupcakes, like cake pops. And that was my little era then, and doing all that with baking. And I really didn't like it. And I felt like I had a knack for it. And then, we progressed to where we're in sports. And then I'm just a chauffeur from 6:30 in the morning to 6:30 in the evening, taking and working in between. So, and then the time in life came when I felt like I was going to be an empty nester. And I was like, oh, gosh, I'm going to have all this time on my hands. What am I going to do? So I got a big dog and trained her to be a therapy dog. So she's great. And then I took up baking again, and this time it was cookies, and I absolutely loved it. And then I didn't turn out to be an empty nester because he stayed here instead of going away to college, which was fine in the end. But so
Yeah.
much for my empty nester plans. I have a plan. Okay, I stuck with my plan. I'm stuck with it, and then it just grew and it grew. My cookie therapist just has just in its short 2 years, had quite a few little evolutions, and I even going back to the autism and my small business and how this kind of planted the seed very early on. Then I thought, well, you know what, he has trouble like in big social situations with social anxiety. I thought I can go to markets and this could really help him. Or maybe he's considering studying business. He can run the business end of my business. That will be great. That'll take so much off my plate. Zero interest in business. Okay, so
Aw.
I'm still doing all that. You know how it goes in the marketing and everything else with small business, because he's yet to take an interest in anything except for my red velvet cookie stuff with brownie. So
Yeah.
that's his stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the taste
But
testing, huh?
Right?
yes, very good at taste testing.
He'd be
And
quality
now he
control. There
tells
you
me, yeah, he's tired of me doing the decorated cookies. He wants me to go back to doing the gourmet ones, which I generally just do for markets. And I just kind of took a break from markets for a while because that's what I make all the different funky flavors and the big cookies that like 4 people could eat and all this stuff. So he's ready for me to get back into that stage. But I did take him out to the markets at least, saying, okay, you know what? And I need you. You're going to be my helper. You're living here. I need help on Saturdays. Come out to the market with me, not just lugging the heavy stuff, but just to talk to people and to be around crowds, which is something else that's just not really that easy. Or it's a non-preferred activity. He'd rather stay here gaming. So we out and about we went. And he did great handling the square. just baffled me in the beginning. I couldn't, and he figures it out like a whiz. So he handled all the Square transactions and the cash transactions for me. Well, I just, talked to people and explained to them what the cookies were and, different things they want to talk about. So it worked out really nice. So I'm looking forward to starting in the markets again and bringing my helper guy with me.
Yeah, that sounds like a good balance for both of you. You get out there and do what you have to do, and then he's at least around other people, even if he's not talking with them constantly and that kind of thing. Just a little bit of that, I'm sure, is
Yeah.
helpful. So that's a good situation for both you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. And by the end, he would warm up to it and he would be talking to people or giving them compliments and stuff like that, stuff that he would not do. It takes a while for him to warm up. The
Sure.
more time you spend inside, like now his thing is gaming. He goes through these phases with autism. When he was younger, it was, let's see, like a Japanese anime, and then it switched for 6 years. It was like hardcore tennis playing, just nonstop. And then he graduated, dropped his racket, has now picked it up again. Then he taught himself how to play guitar during COVID, got a
Oh,
collection of acoustics, bass, electric, played them all great, stopped, built a computer, which he calls the Lamborghini of gaming computers, and that is where we're at today. I'm just waiting for the other, the
what's next,
other,
right?
the other whatever it is to come along and replace game.
No,
Yeah,
but it's an incredible story. Like I love the fact that I mean, like all moms, right? We do what we need to do to help our children, and
Yeah,
I think it's great that it led into something that can be profitable for your family and something that you guys can somewhat do together. I think
absolutely.
like when I had my boys, I'm like, so my husband, I don't want anyone else to raise them. I don't want them to be with grandma and grandpa all the time. I don't need them to be
Mhm.
in daycare. Like we need to figure out what we need to do so we can
Yeah,
be there and be part of whatever sport they're in or whatever play they're going to be in or activities that we want to be of. So you created your career around your family unit
absolutely.
of what you needed, and I love that. I think it's
Yeah.
great. I think it will resonate with a lot of entrepreneur moms because I think that's
yeah,
our
I
main
I think
reason.
so because I really don't do anything different than any other, super mom out there or any mom period. It's just that my activities had to be just a little amplified, just a
right.
little extra in
No,
those
but
departments
yeah,
with the language, with
Sure.
coordination, with whatever it may be, with the social skills, with get along with friends, with solving disputes. Luckily, academics came easily to him, but the rest of the world did not.
but
Yeah,
Kim, I think even a lot of kids go through that, even if they're not on the spectrum of any sort. Like they
Yeah.
have, I mean, with COVID, I mean, especially the social interaction with children have
Yes.
changed. Like my youngest son, he definitely is less mature than my older one. I think he was in that
Mhm.
fourth, fifth grade era when we were in COVID, and when he
Yeah.
came out, that they display weird behavior. Sometimes, like, wait, you're 14. That's what a 10-year-old. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
Right. But
You know, just
being
because they
shut
didn't,
in for a couple of years will do that. Yeah.
yeah, but I think it's great that you have your business taught him also life lessons, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
I really do try and tie it in. I do tie it
yeah,
in. And during the day, like my cookie therapist is my passion. It's my love. It's my small business. It's really cool. I'm really kind of proud of myself because it's something I'm kind of, what do I want to do? I always want to do this. And then I do it. And then I'm like, you know what? I've never had a small business. I want to see what that's like. And boy, am I getting a dose of that here too. It's a lot
yeah,
of work. and
yeah,
it's, getting busier and busier. And I love that part of it. We just keep branching out. And working moms in San Antonio has been just a huge gap for me. I had, we all have our mom groups of friends. Well, thankfully, I have my group of friends who have children on the spectrum and can
mhm,
identify with, the growing pains that maybe I'm going through. And we can bounce things off of each other all the time and laugh and say, remember when. But what I didn't have was the business moms and things to bounce ideas off or bounce, questions off about whatever it may be, websites, advertising,
yeah.
target audiences,
yeah.
and so it's just been fabulous, just, meeting and getting to know and just being a part of what you guys have to offer. It's really good
Oh,
stuff.
I
Oh,
love hearing that. I'm so glad. I mean, really, when we started it, that was us too. It was like, in our
Mhm.
industry, people wanted to like go out drinking and, do because we're in real estate and that's what you do for some reason. And it was like, we have little kids. I'm not going to go do that. You know what I mean? Like, I can't do that. And so
Yeah.
Marie and I were like, wait a second, like, we need to find other people that are working moms, and so we did that.
Mhm.
And then it was like, well, I also want to know the people that are running their own business because that's a whole different side of it.
Right,
So then we found those too, you know?
it's good. Who knows what you're gonna find next?
Yeah, who
Well,
knows?
well, definitely, even though you're in different industries, it doesn't mean the skills that you've learned over time can't be shared in another industry.
Right.
You know, like, hey, my
Absolutely.
kids were 2 when I did this, and this is what worked. I can, put them on my back, or I can take them with me, and we
Mhm.
can do different things with them. We have moms that lug kids around during a nap time is going to be in the car because they got to drop off laundry, or they got to do X, Y, Z, or
Yeah.
whatever the case is. And I'm like, oh, I never thought about that. You can do things, and when you see other people like you doing things that you thought maybe was a little hard, like, wait, if they can do it, I can do it,
It's empowering, it really
Yeah.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, this is, currently like what I do at night after from 5 to 9. I kind of do that. I usually get home. I work as a behavioral therapist through the day. So that was just kind of another career change. I went when my son was little and getting a lot of those ABA hours that I was
Yeah.
talking about. I just kind of wanted to peek in on his therapies. I just wanted to make sure it was being done right. So what do? I signed up at the University of North Texas and take the master level courses in behavior analysis and get all that done just so I can micromanage, double check, who knows. But that's what I'm doing now during my day job. So I do work with, kiddos of all ages on the spectrum right now, doing private one-on-one therapies, and just it's a lot of fun to see them grow and blossom. We had some parent meetings this morning, and it's just fun to take that walk down memory lane to September when school started, to maybe what the child may have been doing that they were having problems with, to the maybe the frequency of how often it's not happening now, just to see how much they've blossomed and grown. And prior to this career that I'm in now, I was a news anchor for like 15 years in some different
Wow, I
markets.
didn't know that
And
about you, Kim.
yeah, over in Corpus Christi. That was my Texas stint, and then Florida for about 8 or 9 years, and there too in Orlando. And it's funny how the cookie business, just because, aside from the baking cookies, we have to worry about all of our own advertising and marketing and
Yeah.
Yes.
management, all that good stuff, just kind of brought me back to that, because that's what my degree is. It is, in broadcast marketing and management. It's just kind of, sending little signals that way of, oh, I remember this. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course, it's completely, it's the same, but not the same, because now,
Yeah.
I essentially run my business on, Facebook and Instagram,
Yeah.
basically. And those weren't even an issue, or for those weren't around when I was in college. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and date
Yeah.
myself. I'm a Gen Xer, no doubt about it. But yeah, so it kind of brings back that marketing and advertising little experience and education I had way back when, and it's fun and enlightening, and I'm enjoying that part of it too.
Do you feel like because you've been on the camera so much that like you can, because like one thing that I really struggle with is putting my own self on my social media.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to do my face. I'm trying to do it a little bit more now. I'm being a little bit better. There's a gal in our group that's helping me. But do you find that it's like comes very easy for you to like film, like,
No.
hey, like let me talk about my business?
I
No?
wish no. And and everybody I come across, they're like, you need to put your face on there more. You need to put your face on there more. Like,
Yeah, they tell me that
I know. And I
too.
don't. And I used to do it for 15 years, every single day in, day out. Early morning, noon newscast, 11 o'clock newscast. There I was.
Yeah.
But to put myself on my own Instagram, shudder at the thought. Or really, I don't mind so much the video of myself. It's just, the talking part. And
Yeah.
I don't know why. I guess because I'm so far removed from it. It's just like anything, once you start doing it more often, and I'm trying to put myself out there more often on my own little reels and
Yeah.
whatnot, as my cookie side of my the baking
Business.
aspect.
Yeah. You got to
And
show your
so
cookie side.
right, I
Yes.
know, right, I'm just showing the cookies now. So yeah, I need to get back
But
into
I
that.
think all of us working moms struggle with that. Like when I
Uh-huh.
see myself, I'm like, I look like that. That's not what I see in the mirror. Like, wait a minute, what? But I think I came to the point where, you know what, they're gonna see me anyway. That's the way I
Yeah.
look. It is what it is. you know, like
I know. Yeah, nothing's ever going to be perfect. All my
no.
videotaping and photography, I do at night because, well, that's when I'm home and to do it. So, I've got my lighting things set up really to photograph the cookies. Or if I were to do anything like this, like to tape anything on camera, it would all be done
Yeah.
at night after a very long day and probably not looking my best. But oh well, again,
Right.
who cares? Right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad to know I'm
But
not
it's
the only one
real.
that struggles. It's
Yeah.
just they keep saying, you've got to get your face on here and you've got to do this. And it's like just one more
Oh, good.
thing,
I'm not the only one hearing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well,
Yeah.
One of the most interesting parts of your story that I found was when you were talking about how once you finally stopped doing all the things, then
Mhm.
that's when things finally started going well. And that really resonated with me because I feel like
Mhm.
sometimes we all, as working moms, need to just, we're trying to do the best for our kids,
Yeah.
like Marie mentioned. Like, you want to get, like, okay, this is going to help, and this is going to help, and this is going to help. But sometimes I think what does help is just stop, like, stop a minute, and for us,
Yeah.
it's
Exactly.
hard, but it sounds like that made things go in a more positive direction for you and your family.
Oh, it absolutely did. I mean, we built what was a genuine relationship. It wasn't anything, staccato, or it wasn't
Yeah.
anything drilled or wrote, or we built real relationships with each other. And yeah, I'm just really excited now at this age that we're still, we have a good relationship,
Yeah.
and we talk to each other openly, and we ask each other for advice, and those are really just cool things that I didn't know if I would ever be able to experience or
Yeah.
not. You just don't know. Two kids can start out at the exact same age with the exact same protocol to
Yeah.
have two absolutely different outcomes in their
Yeah.
development. So you just don't know.
Yeah.
Kim,
But
had you been around anybody that had autism before your son?
never. I
Mm.
had done one story as a news reporter, and I remember going into a home, and there was a little boy, and he was blind and autistic, and
Mm.
he was in a daycare. And the story was not about him.
Yeah.
It was about, I don't even recall what it was about. It was so long ago, but it left an impact. It left a mark on
Yeah.
me. And, years later, I had my child a couple years later, and then he's diagnosed with autism. And I
Yeah.
thought back about that little boy.
Well,
Yes.
not only were you learning about how to be a mom, right? First time mom. It does come with a
Hmm.
book, but you also have another layer of learning to work with someone or be with someone who is on the spectrum, who has autism, and you're in different
Yeah.
behaviors. In their, well, I always they're not to say their abilities and what they can do, because they
Yeah.
are great. I was very blessed in my early high school years and college. I got to work with children with special needs, and autism
Oh,
was one of those, with a lot of
yeah.
cognitive disabilities, and they're amazing. They're
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. And but it takes a little while to learn how to work and find those gifts that they can offer. And it's just
It
learning that part.
does.
But like when you're a new mom, you're told there's these milestones and these
Yes.
things that have to hit, and you freak out when your kid's not doing it. Like,
I know.
what's
It's like
wrong with
panic
them?
button.
What did I do wrong? Like, did I drop them? Like, what happened? Like, right? Like, you don't
I gotta
understand.
fix it was my motto, and I
Yeah,
don't need to fix anything. My son, despite my expertise and suggestions, he's managed to achieve everything that I wanted him to achieve and more. But he does it on his own timeline and in his
yeah,
own way. I may make these suggestions, and again, this is what any parent would do. Okay, I'm going to want you to go to college, and you're going to do this, this, and this, and okay, we don't take my route. His route is his route. But the important thing is, historically, the outcome has been the same or generally exceeded what my
mhm,
expectations are, just not my way. So there
not
are
your
other ways
way.
to do things. How about that? Who knew? It's not
Yeah.
just my way.
I struggle with that all the time
Do
because
you?
because my way is the best way and everyone should know that.
That's why your mom. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah, that's just kids in general, I think, to some degree.
Yes. I remember I was really freaking out. I have two boys, and I have three boys. One's my stepson, but two that I had, and they're my youngest. They're really close together in age, and that was not
Yeah.
planned, not planned. And I was worried because my oldest son, when he came, we hadn't had children in our family for quite some time.
Yeah.
And so he didn't have to walk. Everybody grabbed him. He was
Oh,
carried everywhere. And he wouldn't walk. And I'm like, he's so behind. Like, what's wrong with him? Is there something wrong? And I didn't realize that how much he was being carried by grandma, aunties, and uncles, and
that's
everybody
so
anytime they're around.
funny.
And I'm like, your brother's coming out really soon. You need to walk. Like, very soon, this is going to be a problem.
I don't blame him. Why do it if you don't have to?
I mean, all that
Exactly.
attention, the caring. Yeah. So how did it work out?
Oh,
Yeah.
he finally eventually done, like, you're gonna have to walk. This boy's gonna have to walk. But
You
I mean,
didn't
and
have to have
he
a baby in each arm.
nope, dad did, I did not. But again, he Tyler does it on his own time. That's just him. It's not typically not my way. He'll listen,
Yeah.
but he's always been on his own time. So
Maybe that's just boys. Is that true,
I
Erica? Is
think
that just boys or is that
I go
girls
about
too?
girls.
I
Well,
don't, yeah, no, I think it's all of them, I mean, the girls, I don't know. I don't have boys, so I don't know, but I always hear that with the boys, it's a little bit more aggressive and that kind of thing, but they let things go more quickly. And then with the
Yeah.
girls, it's more like psychological damage where it's like
Yeah.
they'll, they'll cut to the core of you verbally and it'll like really stick with you.
Oh my God, how funny. Well, I can see that
yeah.
in myself. We haven't been,
Yeah.
Yeah.
daughter of a mother. But even, now at the 21, I'll be talking with friends who have, typical kids who I'll be, going on about something or the other that probably isn't going along with my timeline. They'll look at me and they'll say, Kim, that's not, just autism. That's normal. That's Gen Z.
Hmm.
I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
there's a whole other
Yes,
thing.
it's Gen Z. Definitely
Gen
Gen Z.
X,
I'm a Gen Xer,
Gen
so it's a
Z.
Gen Z thing.
That's what I hear. So like, no, that's what 21-year-olds do, but that's not an autism thing. That's a Gen Z thing. Like, okay.
Well, you talked about the guitars, the
Yeah,
gaming, the anime. That's boys. Gen
that's
Z.
boys.
That's
Okay.
great.
How funny.
Right. I can't even think of what else,
Yeah.
but yeah, so yeah, he keeps me in line. I try and keep him in line. And the cookie business has been a growing experience for both of us. If I, rope him in, he will come in. And like I said, I'm looking forward to doing some more outdoor markets and things before it gets to triple digits where
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
melt, the cookies melt. So it's really not a good mix. So I try and get those in beforehand. And also I'm kind of taking a turn also working with small businesses and large businesses and company with corporate logos and branding and all that good stuff, except on a cookie. Instead of
Yes.
handing out, pens and umbrellas or little water bottles like people do, the cookies have gone over really well. These were just some little ones that I had made. This was where my Lucy's doggy
Lucy
daycare for
Doggy
my
Daycare. I know where they are.
Oh,
I
that's
know
so
they are.
cute. That looks
Yeah.
amazing. Well, I can
So
personally attest for working
my
moms that she
yeah,
does an excellent job.
my son works at HEB, so I did that
Oh,
one there. Just put the little badge on a cookie.
yeah.
And
That's
yeah, I didn't
awesome.
keep a sample of the Working Moms one. Yeah, everybody knows this logo. Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
but yeah, you put them all on cookies, and they just make really fun gifts. And I've been really fortunate to work with some, corporate companies and some marketing agencies and whatnot for their doing the cookie logos, cookie business cards, cookie whatever they want to put on a cookie, you can put
Yeah.
it on a cookie. So
That's
I've been doing a
amazing.
lot more of that, and that's a lot of fun. So I've been enjoying that part too.
Oh, good.
Kim, do you share your story with regarding like why you started to doing the baking and the cookies when when you market or when you're going to like your big corporate? Do you share your story that way?
I have never. You know what? This is the
Okay.
first time I've actually shared my story, and I put a little paragraph on my website this month
Hmm.
when I wanted to do something for autism awareness acceptance. I'm like, what am I going to do? Years past, I kind of like put up a carousel of my son's pictures, and it's like I just want to do something different. It's like, you know what? And it was weird because I read back on that, and it was kind of cathartic because I had never shared that with anyone. There was one part of it that I wrote after my son was diagnosed at the developmental pediatricians. They kind of talk to you, and I'm just kind
Yeah.
of hearing, the wah, 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 and kind of come home. I probably left my husband at home. I remember driving to Barnes and Noble and just looking for a book on autism. And then I just opened it up and I just sat there in a corner and by myself and cried and cried and cried because I saw him in those pages. He was there. Every page I turned, there was something about him that he was doing, he was living, we were living. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it's true. It's true. I did
Yeah.
not buy that book either.
Yeah.
It was just, but I guess it was just a relief. I guess, you have your testing done and it's
Yeah.
kind of like, wait. And then you get your diagnosis. And, it's not the death sentence that I thought it was. But, as a new mom, only child, it was an older mom and you seem to be my only child. So,
Yeah.
it was a hard thing to hear. And I guess that just helped me soak it all in. But like I said, I'd never really shared it before. And yeah, so no matter what your kiddos deal is, you're really not alone, even if you think you are. I thought I was alone for a long time, but I wasn't. So
Yeah.
just had to let my guard down and
Yeah.
Why
do things in life.
Do you have for maybe some of our listeners that do have children on the spectrum, do you have any like advice or resources that you found that really helped you, during those early times when you were trying to kind of get it all figured out?
I do. There's an agency, and it is still a gold star agency here in town that just really helped me just, take a deep breath. And they really understood. And it's Any Baby Can. They have
Mhm.
phenomenal autism services there and trainings and, help with prescription medication if need be, help with transportation if need be. And they have lists of, these days it's just built up to, when my son was young, there weren't very many services at all, but now San Antonio
Mhm.
has really gone, gangbusters, and there are lots of services, and it's really good, and therapies, and it's for all, incomes. And UTSA has a big department now where you can get a degree in behavioral analysis, so they have their own
Mhm.
center there, and children can come in for free and work with the behavioral technicians there that are in
Yeah.
training. And so Any Baby Can is really, it's anybabycansa.org, and they just have a wealth of information for you. So that's a really good starting point.
That
Oh,
is,
that's good.
I think what a lot of us don't realize that when you have a child that's on the spectrum or might have some special needs, the family doesn't get respite. You can't just call just any
Mm.
babysitter to come over
No,
because you want to go to a movie. Or if
no,
you want to go to HEB and pick up groceries, it's difficult sometimes when you have a child who is on the spectrum or who might have some, some challenges that need extra hands sometimes. And
absolutely. Yes.
it's very difficult. You can't call up, and sometimes if you don't have family around, you had mentioned that you were from maybe from Corpus, maybe there might not always be family that's able to
Right.
come in and sit overnight if you have something going on or if you have surgery. So there's a lot of programs now. I think people start to realize that you need to have something that provides respite. So I remember I worked for a team that would provide respite. So I was on call that I would go if
Oh.
someone had I was trained to work with different abilities,
Hmm.
and if they needed respite, I was on call. I would be there in 30 minutes to do whatever it was. And we had one family that had
Neat.
two boys that were actually autistic, and didn't have family, and the mom was having her third child,
Oh, wow.
and they needed someone to stay at home so dad could go be with mom having baby. So
Mhm.
I went over and spent the night and was able to be there
Oh,
and
wonderful.
help them. So there's a lot of things like that. I
That's
think that
huge. It is.
it's a huge so
And
having those
back when
programs.
my son was little, I remember I don't even know how I found out about this agency, but if we wanted a date night and somebody to watch our son, because we didn't have any family here or anything, we would drive to New Braunfels, and there was a church there who had respite for special needs parents
Yeah.
night out, and they had special needs children, people who were trained. So it was so nice. We would just go out to dinner in Green. We would just, come pick
Yeah.
him up and drive back to San Antonio. But
Yeah.
that's kind of how far we had to go to get
Yeah, it
a
was
date
Wow.
hard.
night.
Yeah.
But it was
It's
nice.
hard, but yeah. There's not a lot, and especially if depending on, and you have kids that are on the spectrum that could be very mild, where they're,
Mhm.
they might just have some social behavior that's a little different, and maybe, but there's some that have extreme that they need help with everything,
Absolutely.
and
There
so
could be
you have
some
to
that
have
are
someone.
aggressive, or they're
Yeah.
escaping is their thing, and
Yep,
running, and
had those. Yeah,
hard.
we had
Yeah.
the youngest one would jump out the window, and they didn't have any fear. The boys that I was
Right.
helping
Yeah.
with.
No sense of fear. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, wow. You had your little, yes,
So I'm just saying that
experience.
it's just different as a mom that when you're a brand new mom and there's not a lot of
Mhm.
help with kids that might need there's extra care, and the programs now there's so much more than was since you're some
Yeah.
and 20 years ago there wasn't a lot available.
Exactly. But yeah, luckily there is respite now, because every mom and dad need that. Every caregiver, they really need that, especially, when you don't have family in town, or you don't. And then it got to the point where I did have babysitters. My son did give language, and won't never forget, I'm still friends with this particular babysitter. And we came home. She goes, "Oh, I gave Dre 10 milligrams, 10 melatonin, because he said you increased it." I'm like, "We did not. He takes 5. Why would you listen to an 8-year-old take your medicine?
Yeah.
Why?" I mean, he's fine. It's just a melatonin gummy, but apparently, I'm like, no, no, no. Yeah. So then he got a little too verbal, and convinced the babysitter that he needed more melatonin than he really did. So, yeah, it's just always something to look out for.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
but that's a
that's
cute
wild.
babysitter story we tease her with. But it does, when you have, a child or a special needs child, it truly takes a village. And little by little, I built
Yeah.
my village, and I'm so thankful for them, because, became a single parent, which is, another statistic. Divorce statistics are sky high in families with special needs kiddos. And after that, I had to have a lot of help. So luckily I found people in my life that were able to, pick up my child after school, drive him to my workplace. And then he was able to stay at my workplace until I got off of work, or people to bring him home. So yes, the village life is very important.
Yeah, you got to have your tribe, and every mom does in some
Absolutely.
circumstance. That you need that tribe around you, and being an entrepreneur mom and a mom of a special needs kid, that's just a little bit extra people around you.
Yeah. Luckily, they all fell into place when need be.
Yeah,
But yes, I'm excited about my new chapter, my son's new chapter, my new small business, and is venturing off into his end of his university years, and see where that takes him. But it's been a long road, sometimes fun, sometimes not. But like parenthood, it's all fun. No hood like parenthood, isn't that what they say? Or motherhood. I think it's motherhood.
Yeah.
Motherhood, definitely.
Motherhood.
Yeah. Well, so sometimes we ask our guests what their favorite thing is about what they're doing. And so I'm curious, with this new endeavor with the cookies, what is your favorite thing when you're doing that?
Honestly, it's just meeting new people. I mean, I love my job, but I'm with the same little people every single day, and so it's just meeting different people from all walks of life, and going out to the markets and just meeting the other vendors, and then meeting other business women like yourselves, and it's just really opened just a whole new window or door for me, and it's been a real breath of fresh air. I'm just at a point in life where I just felt that was a change that I wanted and I needed, and I'm really happy it's going in a great direction.
Oh, I love that. That's good. No, and we're so happy for you. We can tell that you're really passionate about it, and you do such great work. And so I love this for you, Kim.
Yes, they were very good. I got to have them at our book club, and they're extremely good.
Oh, I'm glad. Good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still trying to finish the next book. We'll see.
Yes, I know. Same. So, and then will you also let our listeners know where they can find you for your cookies?
Absolutely. I am on Facebook at My Cookie Therapist. I'm on Instagram at My Cookie Therapist, and my website is .com. So all those places.
Perfect. Well, that's easy. And we will
find me and I'll get back with you. No problem. Yeah. And if, anybody had any questions about autism or anything else too, I've been working in it for 20 something years. Go ahead and flip me a question if you'd like, or maybe I can, hook you up with another agency or something, whatever need be. Okay.
Great. Perfect. And we'll put your information in our show notes. And then I just want to thank you for being here and sharing your story.
Super fun. Thank you.
Yes, it's
I
great.
feel very honored that she shared it with us.
Yeah, for the first time. Oh, I love that. And I'm so glad. And I know that our listeners will be able to be helped by the information that you shared. So I'm excited about that. And then I will also thank our listeners for tuning into this week's episode of the Working Moms of San Antonio podcast. And we will catch you guys next week.
See you guys next week.
Bye. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Working Moms of San Antonio podcast. Be sure to follow us on social media at our respective Instagram accounts, or join our Working Moms of San Antonio Facebook group. Those links can be found in our episode description. If you have an episode topic suggestion or question, please email us at office@radisagent.com. And be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave us a review. See you next week.